Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, students. My name is Saad Khan, not Saad Khan. And I'm just here to talk to you all about uncertainty. And before that, my film Humble Politician Nagraj with Danish Seth, the one that we've written together, is playing in the second week now. The first week has gotten us really good reviews. It's gotten the second week. So please go watch the film in the theaters. And that's why I'm come here. So thank you so much. Have a nice evening. So what if I had done this? What if I had just introduced myself and walked off? It would have left you guys in a dilemma that he's just talked about his publicity aspect of his film and he's left. As a filmmaker, I'm going to be just taking a few minutes to, I wouldn't say explain my journey, but just take you through my experience. After which, I would love to have a Q&A and a discourse with you wonderful people. I'm a Bangalorean. I did my mechanical engineering and I completed my degree. I didn't drop out. I finished my 4 years mechanical engineering. Any engineers here? All right, superb. So it's like family. We're all here together. As a mechanical engineer, I started directing plays at a very early age because when I was in my school, when I was studying in my 10th grade, I loved to be on stage. But unfortunately or fortunately, when I was in my 7th and 8th grade, I used to get bullied a little bit. Because I got bullied, I realized that I don't have the fervor and I don't have the talent to be in front of people, whether it's public speaking or elocution or play acting, because I was bullied when I was in the 8th grade. But by the time I got into the 10th grade, I realized that I'm just going to take a shot. I'm just going to go on stage and see what happens. I have nothing to lose. I might not be a good communicator. I might fail, but I took a shot and I did that. And I realized that I was not all bad. And when you're in the 10th standard, when you're in the 10th grade, you don't know right from wrong. You just have a passion and you want to pursue it. For me, it was just that. Obviously, what I did on stage when I was in the 10th grade was not wow, was not magnificent. But right at the back of that, when I got into college, into my PUC at Joseph's, I realized that for me, that personal connect of being in front of an audience and being on stage was extremely delightful and extremely rewarding. Because of which, I continued directing plays. And I directed my first play at the age of 16. It was a really bad play. But I was able to market it really well to people. And it was a show that happened in a small little auditorium in Atinagar, where 500 people ended up coming there because we marketed the play for about 3 weeks, saying that a 16-year-old is directing this play, and it has engineering students in it, it has people who are older than him, because of which people turned up. At that time, people appreciated the play, but I knew that the play was, I knew that it was not wow. At 16, you can't make something that is perfect or brilliant. That first experience of a public performance for me invigorated a passion in me to pursue with all the uncertainties that were backed by it. And the first uncertainty that we face as youngsters is when we don't know what career path to choose. And the best people around us at that time who make everything about life dramatic is our parents. How many of you all here have dramatic parents? Guys, be honest. Most of us have dramatic parents, right? I mean, if you tell them that you want to pursue a career in film as an actor, or you want to pursue a film as a director, or you want to be a master of ceremony, you want to be a full-time host, or you want to join the event industry, the first question that is asked of you from a very uncertain standpoint is this a viable career option? Are you going to be able to make money? Are people going to be supportive of what you're going to do? And that was a question that was thrown at me. So my parents very convincingly, I happened to be a decent student in terms of academics. I ended up pursuing my engineering degree. I was also getting a seat in medical at that time. And when I went in front of the counselor with my parents, my uncles had told me that if you want to pursue creative art, being a doctor and doing that is not going to be possible. So I flipped it around right at the time when I was meeting the counselor with my parents next to me. I went over there and they knew that I'm going to be taking a seat in Bangalore Medical College, a payment seat. I sat in front of the counselor and I said, please give me mechanical engineering, Ramaya, free seat. And my parents looked at each other and was like, what is he doing? But that they did not at that time say anything. They let it be, and I ended up going into Ramaya and pursuing my mechanical engineering degree. At that time, the uncertainty was so huge for me because My parents had already in their mind planned my life as a doctor in the family. He's going to go on and do his MBBS, then MD, then MRCP, then FRCS, and end up, saving so many lives. I wanted to save lives, but I had a different way of doing it. Maybe not save lives, that is a real big one. And I pursued my mechanical engineering. While I pursued my mechanical engineering degree, I happened to direct a bunch of plays for public viewing. And every time I started doing a play, I started off with nothing. I just had an idea. I didn't have a producer. I didn't have money. I said I want to do a play which is going to be showed at Chowdhury Hall, which will have 1,000 people coming and watching me. That was a passion that I put forward, and I backed it up with a script and with a bunch of actors ready to put their 3 months into the process. And just by that one act of passion, that one act of uncertainty thrown out in front of people, it automatically connected to a producer who came forward. And when I was in my second year engineering, a person who was already doing events came forward and ended up producing my play, which ended up again having sponsors in the likes of Cafe Coffee Day, a bunch of other architectural people joining in. This happened way back in 2004, 2005. And when I put up a play on stage, Coffee Day made it a set which was unheard of. And all that happened because there was this unpredictability factor. Is this going to happen? And every time you work towards a passionate pursuit, there will be people next to you saying that it's not going to happen. And that's when you need to say, let's make it happen. How? You will not know till the end. And that is the process that at least has guided me to the fact that communication has been a very important aspect of my life. Finishing my engineering degree, having done 14 to 15 productions as plays, I knew that I wanted to get higher studies. And I wanted to pursue it in the US because I wanted to be highly educated, because my parents always said, you do whatever you want in your creative pursuit, get yourself educated. So I applied, but I applied in the area that I wanted to learn. I also made some short films while I was studying engineering. One of those short films managed to get into a film festival, because of which I got selected to New York University to pursue my master's degree. Once I got into the university, they send an I-20, a form which allows you to go and study there. When I got that form, it was $40,000 that I had to pay for 2 years of my education, including housing and stay. I got it and I said, okay, you know what, my parents, I come from a middle-class family. We had to take a bank loan, so we applied for the bank loan. But at that time, when I went for my visa interview, my passport was withheld. Whatever I'm saying to you guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not making this up, this happened to me. My passport was withheld because on my passport, my full name is Saad Khan. Any Muslims in the house? You can raise your hand, it's a proud thing, it's okay. My passport was withheld and I could not get my passport back. I couldn't travel anywhere because it was called by the US consulate random selection. Because my face resembled someone from Lebanon. Don't get scared, guys, it's not. That's just a very faint resemblance. I am very much a normal person. And my passport got withheld, but that was the uncertainty that was thrown at my face, right? And here I am, ready to go to the US, ready to go and pursue my master's in filmmaking. But I'm here in Bangalore stuck, and not for 1 month, 2 months, for 8 months. And in that time, the first thing that happens when uncertainty strikes is you go into frustration, you get irritated. I also had the same feeling because we're all human. But what I did was I took that passion again, I took that irritation and converted it to passion by again producing 2 plays and directing a short film. Fortunately for me, the graduate coordinator who gave me the admission at that time ended up coming to India and came to Bangalore and came to this very hotel, Taj West End, 10 years ago. And at that point, they came here and they had, they do these seminars and they do these interactions to take in outreach, to have an outreach program to take in students. So my graduate coordinator met me in person. And he said that, oh, you already have an admission with our university. I said, yes, sir, my visa, as you know on email, my visa has been withheld and my passport has been withheld and I don't have a visa yet. So he met me, he saw the work that I was doing, and he went back. And when he went back to the US, after 2 weeks, I got an email from him, from the university, from the department, saying that $40,000 is not what is going to be on your I-20. It's only going to be $1,200, only your insurance, because you're going to be paid for, you've got a scholarship, and you're going to be teaching at the university, and you're going to be teaching undergraduate students theater while studying your master's degree. From a place of absolute uncertainty, everything that happens and has happened to me has been because of three key words. One is passion, second is patience, and third is persistence. I have followed these three P's, and at that particular point, when I got my passport back and I went abroad and I pursued my master's degree, it was difficult. It was extremely difficult because I was doing a 2-year program where during the day I'm teaching undergraduate students, in the evening I'm studying my master's degree, on the weekend I'm making short films and I'm making sure my projects get an A or a B so that I graduate well with my master's. Right at the back of my master's degree, when I finished my master's degree in filmmaking, I was one of the brightest students in the group because I made a short film for me that was screened at the Cannes Film Festival in 2008. When that film was screened at the Cannes Film Festival, I came back from France and I was finishing my last semester. And I thought, my God, what have I done? I'm going to get placed in the most amazing companies in the US. From LA to the East Coast, everyone's going to want me. At that time, recession hit in. No jobs in the US. Financial crisis. I was getting unpaid internships and I couldn't afford it. I said, oh my God, what is going on? Why are these challenges just hitting me in the face every few minutes? The moment that happened, I wanted to be in the US because I didn't want to be in the US for 2 years and then just come back home, because the moment you come back from the US, your parents are like, "Kya hua beta? Why did you come back? What happened?" Right? For me, I said, I want to stay. Let me fight this. So I started. A friend of mine and a graduate coordinator, the same person who hired me, said, why don't you get another master's degree? Why don't you apply and see if another university pays you a stipend and you teach there, and in that time the recession might sort of fade off and you might get another job. So I did another master's degree, a 1-year master's in media and communication with a specialization in broadcasting, advertising and public relations from the University of Louisiana down south. The moment I finished that, 3.5 years of being in the US, I was done, because by this time I realized I've got 2 master's degrees. I was missing Bangalore, I was missing home. So just on a whim, I just bought a ticket and I came back to India with whatever savings I had. The moment I came back to India, I realized in Bangalore at that time, 2010, 2011, there were not many filmmakers that were blossoming in the city. So logically, I had to go to Bombay, and when I went to Bombay, I assisted Mr. Ashutosh Gowarikar. And at that point, when I assisted Mr. Ashutosh Gowarikar, I worked with him on 2 flop films, What's Your Rashi and Khele Hum Ji Jaan Se. You might have not heard of the latter as well. I worked with him on that, but what I learned from Mr. Gowarikar was, he also was dealing with a lot of uncertainty around him, because he'd already made Lagan, Jodha Akbar, but his film What's Your Rashi didn't work at the box office. And here he was making a movie with Abhishek Bachchan, who we all know is such a fantastic actor. Whoever understood that, I'm very glad. Thank you. At the back of that experience with Mr. Ashutosh Gowarikar, everyone was wanting to work with other directors. But I asked Mr. Gowarikar, how many of your associate directors have made feature films, sir, one evening at when we were taking a break? And he said, nobody yet. That sparked an idea in my mind that I need to be the first director from Mr. Ashutosh Gowarikar's apprenticeship to become a director later. And I made up that mind, and I realized in Bombay I couldn't do it because everyone there either wants to be an actor or a director. And I realized, again, coming back to my roots, my city, Bangalore. And I came back in 2011, at the end of 2011. And at that point, without anything but just 2 master's degree, one experience with an Oscar-nominated director, I started my company and started doing acting workshops. I started teaching acting. And while I was teaching acting, I realized that it was becoming popular in the city, which made me again gun for a new certainty in my life, which again came from the idea that I need to make a feature film. It's an uncertain industry. You cannot tell anyone whether it's going to happen or not, because you need a producer, you need finances, you need to make a movie, you need to shoot a movie, then you need to do a post-production on the movie, then you need to market the movie, and then you need to release the movie, and after you release the movie, you need to go and tell people to go watch the movie again, so that the film reaches the 3rd and the 4th week, which is what I'm doing with Humble Politician Nagaraj. So it's a constant struggle, it's a constant movement from uncertainty towards something which you don't know whether it's going to be certain or not. Even after Humble Politician Nagaraj it's already declared a hit, we are looking at it to become a super hit. You see, it's a thing that we as humans, especially when you're pursuing the creative arts, we want more and more and more. And it's also with people who want to move up the corporate ladder. But for us, the primary example for this entire journey that I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is passion, patience, and persistence. And now with the journey that we've had, there was a Hollywood film that I've also made, which is very different from Humble Politician Nagaraj, which is going to be releasing in the US. It's about postpartum depression. Because there again for me, it was about the passion to learn something new. And for me to do different genres as a filmmaker. My first film, Station, a Hindi film, was a thriller, which was dealing with film noir. My second film is dealing with postpartum depression. And Humble Politician Nagaraj is a political satire. So with this, I think we have a few minutes for Q&A. I think the questions that can be asked can be anything from all the experience that I've had. And I'll thank you so much for indulging me. I hope somewhere in the cracks, you've seen that the journey has had a lot of what-ifs. And these what-ifs have not been countered with me being positive or with me being braggish or boastful. It's only been countered with me being passionate and with me not thinking about how I'm going to achieve the goals, but actually working towards it. A lot of us sit down and think that, oh my God, yes, planning is something that you need to do, but you should not, and at least especially when you are working on a creative product, to know how your creative product will look like. Because by the time you reach that creative product, along the way, there are going to be a couple of things that will alter it to suit the audience's needs. And for us as filmmakers and as creative people, the audience and the script, the content is king, and the audiences are the entire sabha that we are depicting our entire process to. Thank you.